Hello everyone, welcome back on the lectures for document oriented database. So we are going to continue the topic MongoDB and NoSQL. So in the last class I had told you the brief introduction of MongoDB. So now I'm going to tell you a little about NoSQL, so that you should know what is NoSQL before starting MongoDB. So I wanted to give a brief introduction about NoSQL. So what is NoSQL? So what are the types in it? So a few things I wanted to tell you. So we will have just a look on those, and then we will continue furtherly on MongoDB. So this class is all about your NoSQL. So how does NoSQL work? Okay, so features of NoSQL, the types, and the little bit of advantages and everything. So I will be showing you. You can note down the important points in it if you want, and we can continue. So basically, what is NoSQL? So NoSQL is just a non-relational database management system. So it does not require any fixed schemas, it avoids joins, and it is very easy to scale. So NoSQL is something, it is schema-less first of all. So it is a distributed data. It uses distributed data, stores data according to our needs. So now NoSQL is basically mostly used in your big data, and then your cloud computing. So all these things you are using your NoSQL. And NoSQL now also are used by the companies like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Google. So all these are using NoSQL database because it is very easy to manage. So what does NoSQL stand for? NoSQL is not only SQL or not SQL. So this concept you can see was introduced in 1998. Now after that as I was telling you in the last class, that MongoDB was introduced in the mid 20s. So you can see that when it came in 1998, so gradually we came to MongoDB as well. So traditional databases, relational RDBMS, your relational database management system, basically uses what? It uses your syntaxes, to store data. You're retrieving the data. All you have is proper structures, joins. You have to, maintain a scheme, a schema proper. What is a schema? It's a structured data, right? So you are using schema in this. Here you do not have to use a schema. It is a schema less, right? So let's continue. You can see over here few of the SQL databases. So SQL databases, and these are your NoSQL databases, which we are going to furtherly, anyway I'm going to explain you about these. So yes, let's go. So next is your why NoSQL. Okay, so we have RDBMS. We are using RDBMS. We have a structured tables to store data. Everything is fine. So why are we using NoSQL right now? What is the need of NoSQL? So RDBMS is something which is you're storing your structured data. You have the information in our colleges. We have proper you are having tables, databases, and you're storing. That is how it is. Now we have a huge amount of volume of data. What data we are having? We are having videos, when we have audios, we have messages, we have clips, GIFs. There are GIFs and lot many things. So these are all unstructured data. To store these unstructured data, actually your RDBMS is becoming very slow. The response time is very slow. So companies, very famous companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, everybody is using now NoSQL. So it has become so popular with internet, giants like Google, Facebook, Amazon, everybody. They are using a huge volume of data. For that huge volume of data, they are using NoSQL. So we have two types of how do we store a data. It is scale up and one is scale out. We have more, but basically this is your vertical scaling is your scale up, and scale out is your horizontal scaling. So vertical scaling, what happens over here? You are for storing your data, you are building up more and more vertically. You are bringing more of RAM, more of CPU, more of memory. So this is becoming very expensive. So you are actually bringing a lot of hardware to store your data. So that is how RDBMS, your traditional SQL, your traditional DBMS is used. So there what you are doing vertical scaling. So what happens in vertical scaling? So you are bringing more of your RAM, more of your CPU, more of your memory, which is you are actually bringing a hardware which is very expensive. So alternatively, now what happened is we are scaling out, that is horizontally we are scaling out our data, we are splitting the data. That is what I told you in MongoDB also, that we are splitting the data into multiple hosts, your multiple machines, which is together forming a cluster. That is what I told you in the last class. So there what is happening, you are scaling out your data and you're replicating the data, so that if one of the server or your host is not working, still the others are working. The replications are there, 2 replications are there, you have 2 more replications. So if one replicate data is not working, it will go to the next host or server, whatever is there, and it will take out the data from there. And this makes your response time less, because you are storing your data in multiple hosts, multiple machines, to small parts, right? So small parts, giving out, retrieving the information in so many machines, it is less time, and together getting one data is very easy. Instead of putting all the data in one machine, that is your scale up, vertical scaling. What happens, you are more and more, you are adding your memory, CPU, RAM, everything. So what happens, your system, your time, response time is becoming slow. That is why we have started now, this is horizontal, that is your NoSQL, right? So that is why we are having now scale out, horizontal scaling. Okay, these are the 2 differences you should know very well, okay, because it is very important. So you can see over here, more CPU, more RAM, then you have more hardware. So you are scaling up, you are making your database more and more, only one server having all the data, once crashes, gone, everything is gone. So instead of that, having the data in multiple replications, that is easy, right? So that is how we are using scale up and scale out. It's a very important terms you should know. So that is your about scale up and scale out. Now the next is, you can have just a readout over this, you can just take a screenshot or anything of these history. So this is a brief history of your NoSQL. So when it started, so when it boomed, and when it actually started. So we are having few of the NoSQL databases we have, like we have Cassandra, we have Kafka, and we have MongoDB. So we are going to learn about MongoDB. You also have more of the data, like NoSQL databases like Kafka. Kafka is running a lot right now. It is a very good software which is there in the market right now. So Kafka, then you have MongoDB, and then you have Cassandra. So Cassandra was actually in Facebook open source the Cassandra project. So that is how it is working. So you can have just you can just Google it, or you can just have few more searches. You can know more about NoSQL databases. So I told you 3 terms. So 3 right now working softwares, we can say. So we have MongoDB, then you have Cassandra, and after all this, now what is working is Kafka, right? So you can just have a look on these, you can just search on those topics. Okay, so after this, the next thing I want to talk about is features of NoSQL. So features of NoSQL, as you can know, so what are features? What is basically features? So what are features? Features means the the plus points, or you can say the what we have, right? So what is so more that exciting about this, so that we are using this, right? So features of NoSQL, basically it is a non-relational database, as I told you. So it never follows a relational model, right? It do not have to provide some tables with fixed columns and then rows and everything. So it's a non-relational, right? So complex features like these things, query languages, query planners, these all things we do not have, right? So basically your SQL is a ACID like you can say, and this is a base. Okay, we will study furtherly about those also. So yes, next is your schema free. So we were talking about schema free. Schema is what? It's a structured, right? Structured, we are putting everything in a structured form. So schema less is So where you do not have to put any structure, it is just having a relaxed schema, do not require any sort of definition of your schemas. Okay, so that is how it works. Okay, so you can see over here you have RDBMS, which is having a structured schema. Okay, so this is just, we do not have any schema, just an implicit schema. This is an explicit schema. So simple APIs we have. Okay, then we have it as a distributed. Yes, so I told you distributed, how we are distributing. So I told you we are having distributed data, so we are having replication. Okay, so we have what you are actually replicating your data, you are putting them in parts, right? You are scaling out the whole data. So that is how it is. You can see over here. Okay, so that is how NoSQL is a shared, right? Shared data, we are sharing everything. Okay, that is how it works. Okay, next is a topic which is very important, that is your types of NoSQL database. So what is NoSQL database? So we have 4 types in NoSQL. Okay, so one is your key value, one is document based, column based, and graph based. Okay, we have 4 basic important main categories of NoSQL. Okay, so I would like to know from you people, so which one are we using? So what is MongoDB? MongoDB is which oriented data, like we have 4 over here. So which type is which type of NoSQL database are we using for MongoDB? So just think about it. So in the last I'll tell you, so what type of database we are using for your MongoDB, right? Okay, so after explaining all these, I will tell you which MongoDB is which database. Okay, I think when I explain these, you will be yourself understanding which one is the one. Okay, so the first one is key value pair. Okay, very simple. You have used in Python dictionaries already. I think in the your first year you have studied about Python. So Python, you have dictionaries, you have key value pairs, right? So what is over there? You have a key and then you have a value for it, right? This is how it works. The data is stored in a key value pair. So that is your key value pair based NoSQL database, right? Then you have column based, so it is oriented, works on columns. Okay, and you know all the what do you say, you can see over here, database works on columns and are based on big table paper by Google. Okay, you can just have a look over here. So every column is treated separately. Okay, so values of single column databases are stored over here. Okay, the next is your document oriented database. Okay, so document oriented database. So document oriented NoSQL database stores and retrieves data as a key value pair. Okay, and everything is stored in the form of a document. So I hope now you will understand which one is, which type is your MongoDB. So MongoDB is your document oriented database, NoSQL database, where we are storing everything in the form of documents. So you can see over here, this is a relational database model, as you already studied in SQL. So how do you make a relational database model? You make a column, rows, and everything. It's just a structured table, there you are making it. So in your NoSQL, your document oriented, so we have an example of MongoDB. So what happens? You're storing everything in the form of your documents, right? So document 1, 2, 3. So that is how you are storing your data, right? And you are using JSON in that, right? So what is JSON also I told you in the last class, right? It's a human readable form, right? Graph based, it's very simple, as the name says. The graph type database stores entities as well as the relations amongst those entities. The entities is stored as a node. Okay, everybody knows what are nodes, right? With the relationships as the edges. Okay, so this is all about your NoSQL. Fine, these are the some types we have. So you can just note down the major types, what we are having types. And as I told you, we are going to use, sorry, this is document oriented. So this document oriented database we are going to study for your NoSQL. Now we are having MongoDB, which we are going to study, and we are going to furtherly having a lot of videos, and we are going to have interaction. We will be studying about your MongoDB furtherly, right? So I hope you understood all these. So let's finish over here, let's wrap up, and we will meet in the next class. Okay, thank you.